Hey guys, Taylor GammaEdge here coming at you with an SPX 0DT update for August 27, 2025. So today looking at SPX intraday, move higher. Although if you missed first hour trading, pretty much grindy action after that. But really the key point is, a lot of consolidation early in the pre-market around our key transition zone, DEX transition zone, breakout from there, move higher to the top of our drunken sailor range. So kind of a textbook move there. So with that, let's get into how we got those key levels based off pre-market SPX positioning and then what our intraday tools were telling us. All right, so in the Discord, right, every morning do a pre-market write-up of the entire SPX complex. We go through that on YouTube Live as well. So if you didn't catch that, either go in the Discord and read that, which you should be every day. Should be required reading, right, before you even participate in the voice channel chat for the day, or to make the most of your subscription. But then, right, those people that are not in the Discord, we do a YouTube Live every day going through it as well. And so SPX complex, right, AM, PM, full complex, then the 0DT. So we kind of get that global swing trading time frame. And then we boil it down, right, for just those intraday traders that want to focus specifically on the 0DT complex. Why 0DT complex? Because, 50, 60% of the volume traded on any given day in the SPX complex is focused on 0DT. So the key things that we do every day in the SPX, it always starts with our transition zones, right? First, we understand the DEX and the GEX based off of delta, distribution of gamma in the complex, where those are at. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different. Today they were the same. That was 64.60 down to 64.45. Don't know why I struggle saying that, but right here, let me annotate that for you. So that's that zone right there. So simply put, this is a low pressure environment. Greeks are not having a huge influence on spot price. Market makers are not inclined to, influence or mine on the market because their exposure is low in this area. So this is often characterized by choppy price action within this area. Hence, we generally do not trade in this area. Exactly what we said in pre-market note today. Within this 20-point range, really do not advise trading. However, outside of the DEX transition zone, we also have our drunken sailor range. This is also another critical level, or not a level, but a zone in our playbook. Reason being is can be characterized as, it's focused on the distribution of speculation, right? And what we see is it's based off a gradient. So what that means is, looking at the distribution of open interest, we can see that open interest is getting significantly larger as we move up. So it's like a boulder going up a hill. So what's happening is you have all these out of money calls, right, exerting their force down on price. So you're kind of going against it. So this is really where you need intraday volume, i.e., call speculators, i.e., buyers, to step into the market and help propel us higher, right? Because, the natural kind of characteristic during the same range is it's our zone of meandering, right? So we could see a lot of back and forth price action. However, generally, above the DEX transition zone, we are generally inclined to see a move towards the top of the drunken sailor range. And then from there, right, major goalpost in the structure. And then if we're able to break above that, then we expect to see continuation higher. Right, and then if then statements, right, above 56.85, I don't know why I keep saying that. 64.85, 6,500 would be the next stop up right there. And right, something we like to say is, right, once we get above, this gradient, this kind of key kind of mountain in the structure, then you can see that we start to go down up to 6,500. So it creates this little bit of bowl. And so if we were to break above 64.85, we would expect kind of, right, we refer to it as like a marble rolling around. Where was it? Right in this section right here. But then, 6,500 was kind of that target right there. Gain key psychological level, all that good stuff. And then right if the market was really rocking and rolling, then above 65.20, we really don't see us, possibly getting above that level. So it should be clear now, right, how we got those key levels. So here's 64.60. This is top of the DEX transition zone. You can see a lot of key interaction there. Looking at the 5-minute chart, looking at that area right in there. And then, right, a move outside of that zone, getting above, right into top of the drunken sailor range at 64.50, right? Top of that gradient, key goalpost for the day, not able to break above that level. So textbook kind of level to level move. Right, and just highlighting a trade in the Discord today, how we took advantage of that. So here, a trade that Paul did, I think he said he's in and out in 13 minutes. This was an early in the trade session selling a put spread below spot price, right? Strikes were 35 and 25. So $10 wide. The thesis for that trade was one, right? This is just an alternative presentation to what we looked at in the web app. But we can see, right, COTMP 64.43, clear respect for this level. Yesterday into today. Then we have our key transition zones right here, top of DEX transition to 64.30. So it's very clear where we would be wrong. So hence why we were selling below those kind of key levels of 35 and 25, right? And if, 64.43 was to be broken, then likely exit the trade because the directional thesis was wrong. However, sorry, I was just not recording, so I have no idea where I left off. But what I was saying was, right, these key levels here, COTMP held, top of DEX transition zone held. And then something that we're going to get into in a second is the intraday volume analysis was starting to move higher in our favor as well, looking at specifically calls. Centroid side, yes, this was early in the market, but we were seeing call speculation higher. So above key transition zone, intraday volume moving higher. That's why it made sense to sell premium below spot price or, getting long through selling below spot price. So hopefully that if then was clear, and then getting into, the end of day intraday volume analysis as well. So it was fairly stagnant, right? To the upside, pretty much a flat top, kind of hence why we got that kind of grinding action. Once we did get above 64.80, really was not an impetus for, massive call speculation higher. So, pretty grinding. The one thing, I mean, this is a classic kind of sideways to higher day pattern just because the put centroid was moving higher all session, flat top on the call centroid. So, I mean, this is just typically the action that you see. And then the context of our key levels, right? 85 was up there. Just so you can understand the utility of this tool, right here is at 1:20 p.m. We have all the centroids populated throughout the session here, both the call centroids and the put centroids. So all things equal, we understand where the centroids have transacted, which is a representation of speculator behavior. We know where it's happened, so all things equal, we can project out where they're going to go throughout the end of the session, right? So this was just projecting a very, very choppy session, which is exactly what we got. And then, right, the other thing I want to point out is market trend model. So we actually saw sustained buying throughout the session, which, right, didn't really propagate into like a massive runaway bull train in the SPX market per se. Maybe because some of the Mag 7 components were down on the day, not sure. But, overall, there's a substantial buying in the market today. So, again, that kind of gave you confidence as well that we weren't really going to see a material, slide in the market intraday, which would help give confidence, right? Selling premium below spot price, all that good stuff. So that's really what I got for you guys today, right? So key point of this video was kind of understanding 0DT price action, understanding those key transition levels, and understanding what was happening intraday to help us give confidence and kind of understanding what was happening with price action itself. So with that, appreciate the time. You guys have a good night. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.